Well, good Thursday morning, everyone. You'll notice in the background I've got it's sort of light in here. I've got the shades pulled open because it's sunny today, or partly sunny. It just went under a little cloud. But just to refresh us with what it looks like at coffee today, I said, "Is that the sun up there?" And someone said, "I don't know. I'm new in town." Brump. Anyway, let's talk about consecration, not concentration, although it takes concentration to do any magical work, but consecration. For the last week or so, in this sort of interlude between major landmarks in the Thelemic Holy Days, we've been talking about magical weapons and creation of magical weapons, wand, cup, sword, disc, things like that. And what they really are and what they really should mean to the magician. And once you've constructed or made or fashioned or fabricated a magical tool, you then, before you put it to magical use, you dedicate it. You literally dedicate it to the work that you intend to perform or celebrate with that weapon. And that dedication, that formal statement of dedication, is called the consecration, and it's an integral part of every magical ceremony, even if it means standing in your circle after you banish and purify your temple. Even if it's just standing there and said, "Well, I'm standing in the circle in the temple, and I'm getting ready to do X, Y, Z. I sure hope it works." Okay, that is a consecration. Not a very imaginative one, though, and it doesn't really set a super good magical atmosphere in the room. But this is a homemade consecration ritual. Now, in the Equinox, Volume 1, Number 9, I think, Crowley's got a ritual of evocation. And it's an evocation of the planetary spirit of Mars, Bartzabal. And I think Crowley put it in the Equinox as this is a format. This is a good format, or one good format of a sort of what he considered a properly constructed ceremony of evocation. It's really cool. It even has a volunteer sit in the triangle to give voice to the spirit. But anyway, it's called the Evocation of Bartzabal. And the tools, the magical weapons that are used in the invocation or evocation of Bartzabal, he calls them out and says, "Here's my spear. May this spear do da." And he's whipping himself up into this martial spirit in himself to evoke the spirit Bartzabal. Here's what Crowley says, and it forms the epigram of this little essay. "Be this consecrated spear a thing of cheer, a thing of fear. Cheer to me who wield it, my heart its vigor shield it. Fear to them who face it, their force let fear disgrace it. Be a ray from the Most High, a glance of his unsleeping eye, that shall be fought this dreadful day. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, we've been talking about magical weapons and what they really are. Any pointy thing can be a wand. Any container can be a cup. But if the pointy thing has no meaning, no connection to your will, if the container has no meaning, no connection to your capacity to love and be loved, if the sword has no meaning or connection to your mind, your wit, your imagination, if the disc has no meaning or connection to your body, your material life, your ability to function in the world, then there's no magic in any of these objects. Once you've constructed or purchased or otherwise obtained your magical weapons, the final step is to magically charge and dedicate them to the service of your great work. This is done with a consecration ceremony, sort of a graduation ceremony for magical tools. But no matter how formal or informal your ceremony is, it'll be worthless, ineffectual, and a complete waste of time if it doesn't actually mean something to you. Unless it is uniquely your own. Unless it is homemade. The consecration ceremony can be as simple as holding your weapon in your hand and announcing to the cosmos, "This is my disc," or sword or cup or wand. "I hope it works." As a matter of fact, I taught a number of years back at the Omega Institute in upstate New York. And part of my is a 3-day workshop in the fundamentals of Hermetic magic. And I had everybody consecrate and charge their own magical weapons. And I called it I'm digressing here, I'm sorry. I called it the cocktail lounge of the elements. And I had a round coaster, a beer coaster that I brought back from, I stole them from pubs in England, and they had those colorful, absorbent round beer coasters with pictures of Francis Drake. It's really cool. That was the disc. And the sword was a cocktail sword that you stuff through an olive or a onion. And the cup was a little plastic shot glass. And the wand was a plastic swizzle stick. So you could put the swizzle stick in the cup along with the sword and put it all on the disc. And then we would go about over the course of that day to charge and consecrate those weapons and how they fit in with the elements of the pentagram ritual and things. So we were learning all these things all at the same time. So but it was fun. And so I had my Enochian elemental tablets that I had brought on the plane with me to the Omega Institute. And we used each of those Enochian tablets, and we activated the Enochian tablets, and we all placed our plastic swizzle sticks and our plastic cups and our plastic swords and coasters one by one on these Enochian tablets. And then finally the words of power, the words of concentration was, "This is my sword. I hope it works." But I digress. It could be as simple as saying, "I hope it works," or as elaborate as a highly structured Kabbalistic ritual complete with purifications, banishings, and multiple invocations of archangels, angels, spirits, and elementals. Your sincerity in the matter is key to the success of the operation. Crowley and the Magicians of the Golden Dawn point to what they call the formula of the neophyte. And they're referring to the neophyte ritual, which is formatted. It treats the candidate in a certain very, very standard formulaic way. And you treat your magical weapon like the candidate. The formula of the neophyte as the format for a proper consecration ritual. The magician simply treats the objects being consecrated as if they were the candidate in an initiation ritual. Now, here are the landmarks of the ritual, and I comment on each of them, but I'm just going to read you the headings right at first here. The candidate is blindfolded and kept outside the temple in the outer darkness. The candidate is brought into the temple. The candidate is examined, interrogated, allowed to pass, or if for any reason found unprepared, temporarily turned away. The candidate is cleansed and purified at least once with water. The candidate takes an oath to remain loyal to the organization and abide by its regulations. And the candidate is dedicated to the great work by a divine invocation. Then finally, the candidate is given a magical name, anointed, robed, and takes his or her place among the initiates. Now I'm going to go back, have a little comment on each of those. The candidate is blindfolded and kept outside the temple in the outer darkness. Until the hour you've set aside for the consecration ritual, keep the object, the wand, the cup, the sword, the disc, to be consecrated, keep it wrapped in a black cloth or bag. Candidate is brought into the temple. For most of my magical life, my temple has been my bedroom, or when the family is out, my living room. For general workings, the temple is a circle, real or imagined, demarcated by the four quarters. For elemental workings, such as the consecration of magical tools, the south is associated with fire, the wand, and the wand. The west is associated with water and the cup. The east is associated with air and the sword, and the north is associated with earth and the disc or the pentacle. The candidate is examined, interrogated, allowed to pass, or if for any reasons found unprepared, temporarily turned away. Carefully inspect the object to be consecrated one last time to make sure it's finished and ready for use. If you're still dissatisfied in any way with the appearance of your tool, now is the time to make those final touch-ups. The candidate is cleansed and purified at least once with water. Thoroughly clean the object to be consecrated and sprinkle it, even the cup, with pure water. The candidate takes an oath to remain loyal to the organization and to abide by its regulations. Because the object to be consecrated can't actually take an oath, you'll need to compose a charge, detailing in your own words exactly what you expect from the tool. Spend some time carefully composing this charge, because if you're unclear in your own mind what the purpose of your magical tool actually is, it will be of little or no use to you. The candidate is dedicated to the great work by a divine invocation. This invocation can be as brief or as elaborate as you see fit. At the very least, you must make some kind of symbolic gesture or prayer invoking the presence and the benediction of the highest power you are capable of imagining, even if you consider that highest divine power to be yourself. After the invocation, you might want to evoke the appropriate elemental spirits: salamanders for the wands, undines for the cup, sylphs for the sword, and gnomes for the pentacle. There are many wonderful and inspiring classical examples of such operations in magical literature. One of my favorites is Eliphas Levi's Prayers to the Elementals. A full text is given at the end of this book. The candidate is given a magical name, anointed and robed, and takes his or her place among the initiates. If you so choose, you may select a name for each of your magical weapons. The consecration ceremony is the most appropriate time to formally bestow that name. At the very least, you should seal the ceremony by anointing the weapon with sacred oil. Olive oil, if you have nothing else. And then place it in a new bag. A red bag for the wand, a blue or silver bag for the cup, a yellow bag for the sword, and a green or black bag for the disc. Note: even if you end up purchasing your wand, cup, sword, or disc, I strongly advise you to sew the storage bags yourself. Anyone, even I, can buy and cut a rectangular piece of colored cloth, fold it in half, and hand sew two sides with colored thread. The minutes you spend doing this are priceless magic moments that will be stored in your magical memory, forever linking to your weapons and the powers they embody. Use your magic tools often for your daily rituals and any time you arrange your altar. Keep them constantly in the forefront of your consciousness. Regularly take them out of their bags and oil, polish, and clean them. Even these simple acts of maintenance are magical meditations of the highest order. Care for your wand, cup, sword, and disc as if you would your most sacred and priceless treasures in the universe. For that is exactly what they are. And please try not to accidentally sit on them. Okay, and that harkens back to me sitting on my precious magic wand. in the early days of my magical career. Anyway, that's where we're going to leave it today. Go off and sew yourself some bags. You could use colored thread, and I even, for my talismans, planetary talismans, I also embroidered little planetary symbols. It's simple enough to do. Anyway, sounds like the gardeners are here taking advantage of the sunshine. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.